Bureaus tend to become more rigid over time. There's an ossification process. This is partly because of the expansion of the monitoring bureau by having more regulations, demanding more information, and the operating bureaus increasing the expense of evading those demands. But even within the operating bureau itself, there's still ossification. Offices just get better at controlling people by finding better managerial techniques over time, but there's a more powerful process going on. If there are predictable tasks, it becomes more efficient to specialize those tasks more and more as time goes on. This also means that there's often a more intense effort to coordinate those specialized tasks, and more people get involved with changes. That specialization and fragmentalization centralizes decision-making, since with more specialization, decisions need to go higher in the hierarchy for that big picture. One result of that is that employees need more rules to compensate for the fragmentalization of the big picture. Bureaucracies become hyper-efficient at routine, predictable tasks and become more predictable themselves. The downside of that ossification, both from the monitoring bureau and the internal centralization, is that bureaus become less able to adapt to novel ideas. If they become too centralized, one conservative manager, who are plentiful in mature centralized bureaus, can bias the communication and control and 86 the whole thing. Bureaucrats end up spending more time filling out reports, following more restrictive rules, and spending more time trying to avoid them than performing the function that justifies the bureau's existence. This is what bureaucracy is known for, and it only took us time to get to. Bureaus never become perfectly ossified and unchanging, because then the sovereign would be receiving unprecedented complaints from clients or other organizations, but they can get quite rigid. You can shake things up with periodic reorganization, which after a short period of chaos would allow ideas to proliferate freer and lead to better long-term performance. But eventually, ossification will settle in again, and that's costly and uncertain. So if a bureau is required to adapt to an urgent and important new task by the sovereign, it's often easier to just create a new, smaller organization, even temporarily, using the existing bureau's resources, than work within the ossified framework. This would be a breakout organization, a spin-off of an existing bureau. One of the ways bureaus are born. We're at the end, but we're also back at the beginning. This was a lot harder to tie together than I'd like to admit. This book is a mess. Ugh.